Second. Yes, here we are. Today we gonna with Hari. Hi, bro. Hi. How are you? That's great that you had joined the live session. That's great. That's great consistency. Right. So yes, we will be solving this problems, but let me know. This is Monday. I think there will be no contest in any of these things, right? Many of the people had Mondays. Now, the problem we're gonna solve today is quite, majority element. We are just solving the majority element problem today. Given an array nums of size n, return the majority element. You know, the majority element is the element that appears more than n by 2 times. You may assume that the majority element always exists in the array, right? It's quite an easy problem, but let us do one thing. So there are, let me see how many of the people, 398 are online. That means they are just trying out to solve this problem. They might go to discussion. Let them join our discussion. Hi, Hari bro. How are you doing? Let me know one second. I think I have solved like four more to go to 1,000 problems. Yes, two more. Two more problems to just hit 1,000. And we are just near to that. So, so majority element is just like that, and this live stream would be not so long as the question was very easy, right? Question is very easy. Let me tell you. Nums is 323, right? So half is nothing but just 3 by 2, which is 1. Now, nums is something like this, and we are having 2 repeated for 4 times, which is 2. The answer is 2. Could you solve the problem in linear time and in big of one space? Okay, okay. So can we count or okay, let us go with the brute force one first. Let's go with the brute force thing. Am I audible to everyone? Right? Many of the times I'm just not switching on or turning on the audio input capture, right? So we'll start off from here. So first, majority element is nothing but which appears n by 2 times, more than, right? So we'll do one thing. We can go with using an unordered map. Let me tell you what does this unordered map mean. Imagine, just imagine we are having elements like 1, 3, 5, 5, 3, 2, 1, 2. Now, if I have stored like this, then 1, how many times 1 is being repeated? It is repeating for 2 times. How many times 3 is being repeated? It is repeating for 2 times. How many times 2 is being repeated? It is also for 2 times, and 5 is also for 2 times. But every time, if someone asks me how many times 1 is being repeated or occurred in the array, I just need to go bigger of n. That's the time complexity. That many times I have to go for every element, right? So imagine there are n elements and all of them are unique. Was your contest live stream yesterday? I went to sleep right after attending the contest. Oh, it's okay, brother. Tarun Rawat, thanks for attending this live session. You know, we the only goal is not of the people, the number of subscribers or number of watchers I would get from this. Any students who can understand the problems or they can ask their doubts, that's more than enough, right? So if you are gaining some value from this live stream, then it's better, right? It's better than all those number stuff we do every day, right? So that's however we're gonna reach. Don't be like that, okay? I'm just saying like this, and it's okay that you have missed the live stream. You joined here, and thanks Tarun and also Hari for joining this live stream every day, right? Every day. You have joined from the past 5 days. This is the fifth day, right? You have joined from day one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I think we would go instead if we have a data structure to store, I would say it as hash map. We can make it as ordered, where it is just named as map, or we can make it as unordered map. So this would have bigger of one time complexity. That's why we are using an unordered map, right? So we do the same thing here. We exactly do the same thing here. We do, wait, we do one thing, count the frequency of every element. That's it, right? I'm just counting the frequency of every element in nums, right? And I'm just storing it in an unordered map. Now what I'll do, iterate through the sorry, my bad. Iterate through the unordered map and return the element with frequency. I can say it as frequency greater than n by 2, more than n by 2 times, right? That's so simple, but we can even code it in a simpler way. But first thing, most of the people aren't interacting with this live stream. But let me tell you, if you don't interact with the live session, it would be hard for both of us, right? So let me tell you, we got an unordered map. Let me tell you how we can get frequency of every element. Imagine you have initialized unordered map with, we can initialize anything, but one one second. We should definitely initialize a key and a value. What is the key and what is the value that you are giving to that key, right? So this way would just make it simpler, right? Now, as I said, one will be for two times, two will be for three times. How many times a number is occurring, right? So both of these data types are integers, excuse me, are integers. So I'm just taking it as int comma int, right? And it won't be, might not be. Okay, might not be okay, going with more than integer value, I'm hoping, right? So let us check it. But We have an unordered map, and every time we get a map, I'm just keeping it in the whole live stream to use MP, or I'll just name it as frequency. But for now, let's not use MP. It might be confusing. Let us name it as frequency. Now, how do I get frequency? If you see, as soon as you have initialized this, if you just access frequency of any number 2, then if you just print it, you would get you would get the output as 0. Why? Why? Because if there is an unordered map, like we have named it as frequency, and there is no key such as 2, then default value will be 0. This would work only for integers or long data types, right? All the numerical value types, key, and the value, right? The value will be 0 by default. So we have an unordered map with the frequency, and we just output it as 0. Now let me tell you, how do I are you using your mouse to write on Excalibur? No, no, bro. One second. Let me show you. This is some HUION digital pad. This is just a writing pad, Tarun bro. And thanks for asking. Many of you might be confused with how am I writing. I'm not writing it with mouse. It would be taking a very long time. Okay. I think you this handwriting would be okay for you. I'm not saying it's a beautiful writing, but it's okay. I should improve my handwriting. I agree with that. So, okay, we got the frequency of 2 as 0. That means by default, every number would have a default value of 0, right? So, I need to increment the frequency of the element which are appearing in nums. Just taking an example. Let's take an example 1, 3, 2, 2, 4, 5, 5, 3, right? So when I get to 1, I'll just take 1 with just incrementing the frequency. Then we'll go to 3. Wait, it will also have 0. I'll just increment to 1. For 2, it will also have by default 0. I'll just increment it by 1. 2 again. We already have it, which is 1. Just increment it by 1, and the frequency would be 2. 4, it was 0, and I'm incrementing it to 1. 5, the same thing. 5 was 0, and then 1. Again 5, so 2. 3, yeah, here. So this will be our frequency unordered map, right? So I think you got it, but to write the code for this, it's much simpler than you think. So for you know how you use this auto, right? Auto X in nums, right? If anyone know where can we use this auto, right? Automatic, something like I don't know the exact abbreviation or whatever the full name for this, but we use auto for often number of times. Might be for graphs, yeah. For graphs, we will be using this auto, something like a data type. We can say that as a data type. And if anyone know, thought you were writing with a mouse. I tried writing with a mouse once, but it turned into some ancient scripture. Yeah, we cannot write with a mouse in Excalibur. Let me tell you, the better way is one second. The better way is to write or just type with this thing. We can just type. Now we can increment or just increase the size. And here I can write frequency of x plus plus. That's simpler, right? But I don't do easy things. Okay. So frequency of auto X in nums, I'm just incrementing the frequency. I just got it. But do I have to go again for auto? You see here X comma F in frequency. I'm using this frequency or auto as the data type. Now, if the frequency is greater than n by 2, we'll just return x. That's it. That's all. But let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. You don't even need this. You can just cut it off, right? So here itself, if the frequency of x is greater than n by 2, then return x here itself, right? So I think you got it. Now we are having only one thing which is left for this is coding. Int n is equal to nums dot size, okay? And we have unordered map int comma int frequency for auto x in nums. Frequency of x will be incremented as if frequency of x is greater than n by 2, we'll just return x. If not, and it will be there, however, I'm just writing it for the sake of the compiler. Auto means the compiler automatically deduces the data type of variable. So instead of writing for int xa, we can write for auto xa. Yes. And we did the same thing for this one x comma f for getting key value pair in frequency unordered map, right? That's it. But we aren't done yet. So the time complexity which we are using for this approach is I'm just neglecting this. I'm not, I didn't even go with that. So imagine in the worst case, there are n unique elements, then the space complexity will be big of n. The time complexity is already we are iterating through every number in nums. So it would be big of n, right? But they asked us, can we change it to big of 1 without using additional space complexity? Let us see. Let us just think about it. Let us just think about it. You can share your thoughts. I'm just acting like a um, beginner, right? So imagine one, double, two, three, and then two, and then let's take another two. Yeah, for map, we would have to write something like for constant pay int comma int ampersand p in frequency. Yes, that's great, Tarun bro. Yeah, I think you have shared your lead code, right? I'm just, I think I forgot it. You have just shared your LinkedIn and also lead code, right? If not, let me share you my LinkedIn. Anyone, uh, https www.linkedin.com. One second. I'm just sharing my LinkedIn account with you. Okay, right? You can get there. You can get there. So we are having one second. So so they were asked us. Let us take this once again. Uh, I think Hari didn't attend this. I don't know why, but it's okay. Infinite loop guy. Okay. https://www dot rsiddhu. Yeah, no, there is no error like that. Tarun, 1 second. Let me share it. https www. Yeah, indian.com/in. I just forgot. Our size. Now is it okay, Tarun bro? Hi, Infinite Loop. Uh, Hi bro. Thanks for attending this live session. Yes, I am also from Hyderabad. Are you from Hyderabad? Yeah, there are many. That's great. Wait. Yeah, here. We'll just keep it here for anyone who has any doubts. Yeah, got it. Okay. I'll join stream from after my dinner. Yeah, sure, Tarun. You're from Hyderabad. Where do you stay in Hyderabad? Bro, let me know your real name and we can connect over LinkedIn. Infinite Loop Guy. Right? So you can have your dinner turn. We can solve this. We can solve it. Right? Excuse me. Right. Excuse me. Right? You can ask your doubts you if you're stuck anywhere. Right? We'll be solving this, however. I think I got a message. Yeah. Okay. Press all 300 easy to medium problems in LeetCode long back and I attended in the AI company internship interview on last 20 years. So I want to start from basic easy. What are your tips? Bro, you can message me in LinkedIn, but let me tell you, the 150 series which I have started just 4 days back, and this is day 5. Let me tell you, these 5 months will be solving more than, not even 150, will be solving more than that, at least 200 problems. And it would be a revision for you, right? You can revise the things from scratch, right? So let me know what were the problems which were asked in that interview, right? So you can start with this. So one thing is when you're in like going with this revision or preparing for any interviews, please don't try to solve that as to increase the number. Just have to solve it so that we can understand what is the problem and how we can optimize it, right? So interviewers don't be thinking like this person can he write the code or not. Even AI can write some of the code. What we have to do is thinking, right? There was a famous code which I shared recently in my Insta. So Edison would be saying like this. We would make bulbs and lights as so much cheap that only rich would be lighting candles. So someone in there commented like we would make AI so cheap that only the intelligent people would be thinking, right? Only the intelligent would be thinking. So that's what I think it's great. Let me say if I have this one, I'm selecting this one. So what is the count of this one for AI related? 1 second. Related roles is coding still worth it? Yes, definitely. I won't say that don't code at all. Let me tell you why. So if you didn't code at all, you'll be like messing up with your pattern math, what do you say? Pattern recognition, right? So you'd see 2 to 3 problems on graphs, right? So if suddenly there was a fourth problem, then you can easily figure it out that this would be the same problem which I have solved earlier, right? And if there was a DP, you can easily figure it out, right? So, in company, you will be using all this AI and also production and software and whatever. But in career of 15 to 20 years, people are still asking DSA. You cannot neglect it, right? Even even those companies, like yesterday we had a discussion with some of our viewers. They said that as L1, I think. Yeah. Infosys L1. Infosys L1 where the package was around 22 LPA. L1 or L3, I don't know, L1 or L3, the package was 22 LPA. They were asking DSA problems and they have even shared the 4 problems with me in Insta. And if I had any time, I can share it with you. Please just connect with me in LinkedIn and I'll be there, right? Did I just pin it? Yeah. So, can we get back to the problem? I'm just keeping it like current majority. I'm saying it as 1, right? So even if you have any doubts, please don't hesitate to ask. Bro, infinite loop guy. Okay, let's go further. It is not equal to our current majority element, right? I'm just assuming one element, this element as my majority element, right? So, so here I didn't get it, right? So what I would do, I'll just decrement it to zero, right? Now, now I'll do one thing. I'll just go to the next element here, and the count which I have is zero, right? So I'll just do one thing, I'll just change it, and the count will be one again. Now here it is zero again, right? I'm just changing the count and then going to two. Here, the current majority element. Are you doing job or DSA instructor, bro? I'm doing both. I'm both like I'm just doing job in healthcare, financial company, and also a DSA instructor. And there might be a course when this 5 months hits drastically over the YouTube, right? I'm hoping that. I'm hoping that it would be great, right? I think I shouldn't be using the word drastically. Okay, it's okay. Then we'll go to the next element. Here we have two, right? One second, right? So if we ever had the current majority element and it is greater than the length, the half length, then we'll just return it. Did you get my point? You can ask your doubts, right? We are just changing the Boyer-Morris algorithm. We're just going with the current majority element, which is 2 eventually. Just take that. And I hope these initial days would go fast, right? So what we are exactly doing in the algorithm is just taking the current majority element as nums of zero. That's the first thing which I am doing. And let me take that count as well. The first count. We already have nums of zero, right? So for I is equal to 1, I is less than n I plus plus. If nums of I is equal to current majority element, then we will do one thing. We'll just increment the count, right? We just increment the count, which we have. Now, if it is not equal, we'll just decrement it, count minus minus, and if the count is equal to 0, what we have done here is we are just changing the current majority element to nums of I, which I got, nums of I. Right, then we are just changing count as 1. And at the last, return the current major. Yeah, 1 minute. Um, I don't know your name, but it's okay. Let me just let me just share it here. Here is the link. Infinite loop guy. I don't know your name. Sorry for that. So I think we can implement this. Shall we? I think we can. We should implement this. Did you get that? 1 second. So here we will be having, instead of current measure and all, we'll just have measure which is nothing but nums of 0 and count will be 1 for I int I is equal to 1, I is less than and I plus plus if nums of I is equal to majority element. We'll just increment the count, else we'll just decrement the count. We'll just decrement the count. Then if count is equal to 0, majority element will be nums of I and the count will be 1. Return the majority element here itself. Let us see. Yeah, we got it right. Here we are solving another problem. Similar question would be the same. I think this is interesting. Most frequent event element given a return the most frequent event. There is a try smallest one. If there is no such element, okay, return minus 1. So I think we just need to use hash map, which I just explained you earlier, right? What if 1 second, 1 minute, we are having current subscriber count as 110305, 1105. Okay, just see the live count. We are rapidly increasing, right? Our community or code further channel, right? So you see this green. This green is for the previous month, previous 30 days, and four not yet views. That's views. Okay, thanks. Thank you everyone for this support. And if you just do this again and again, more and more, we'll be just happy and can solve and will build even more than this. Just instead of just solving, We'll just build more, right? Yes. How was your last contest? I should. It was pretty well. Weekly contest, right? It went very, very well. And I was able to solve three problems. Let me know how many problems have you solved, Shub, right? So let me know how many you have solved. I think I have seen your message a bit late. Okay. So we just need to have a hash map. Okay. Okay. One thing which I think is instead of storing every element, we can just store the even element, only those which are even, right? Okay. And we won't be storing the frequency in unordered map. Only two. Why didn't you solve? Okay, it's okay, but let me go to the contest and let us see. I think that's the matrices problem, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, maximum area. This is a quite difficult one, but that's a great problem. Here it goes. We're just having row and column. I think you already have solved it. Did you already solve it, Shub? I think you did. One second. Laptop is overheating. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Don't need to feel anything bad about that. One contest. It's just a contest, right? We'll just get our ratings back. That's okay. What I'm thinking, yeah, that's great. And there wasn't a bi-weekly contest on day before yesterday. Yes, right. And I hope you attend this live session every day, right? I know you have already solved quite a lot of problems, and we'll be going from this sorting and searching to a greater number of questions, which would eventually lead us to DP graphs, trees, and all those stuff, right? So I'm thinking like, how will be if I just store in map of int comma int as just frequency, right? We'll just store the frequency. And here the thing, just the twist is store only even numbers. Now before that, while we are incrementing the frequency, we'll just have max frequency, which would be at least 0, right? And that's the max frequency. Now max frequent element will be -1, I think, right? So if the current element frequency of x is greater than max frequency, I'll just change it as max frequent element as x and max frequency as frequency of x. That's it. That's all it is about. That's all it is about. And we'll just return the max frequency element. And I think we are clear here. And let me write a pseudocode for this. So max frequency is 0, max frequent element is -1. For int x in nums, we will have frequency of one second. Frequency will just update the max frequency. Why? Because we can get the minimum one. I'm guessing we can get the minimum one. What do you say? Frequency of x will be incremented and only if x is even. If x mod 2 is equal to 0, then only increment this. And max frequency is equal to max of max frequency, comma, frequency of x, right? Now, I'll just go iterate for auto x, comma, f in frequency. We'll do one thing. If f is equal to max frequency, then just return x. We'll return -1, however, if they can find. That's it. Int max frequency is equal to 0, and for int x in nums, we should have map. It would be nothing like this. In comma int and name it as frequency. Here, if x mod 2 is equal to 0, which is even, frequency of x plus plus. Now, max frequency will be max of max frequency, comma frequency of x. That's it, right? Now for auto x, comma f in frequency, we'll have if f is equal to max frequency, then return x. So return -1 here. One second, frequency. Okay, we did a small error. Yeah, yes, output was 7, expected -1. Here, we are updating the max frequency for every frequency of x. That's where we are getting a wrong answer. If you see, just not including in the if statement gave us an error. I think that's the reason we should be precise while writing the code. We got it. We got it. Right. So, one second. I think, do we need like, yeah, I think we are done with this live stream. And if you have any doubts, please let me know. We'll be just be there for another 11 minutes.